At the center of the augmented reality industry lies one company. It's Gravity Jack. And they've been the secret pioneer in the augmented reality and virtual reality space since the early 2000s. Gravity Jack has worked with a plethora of Fortune 500 companies to create the augmented reality experiences you've seen and used today. And after a long wait, they've finally begun their first ever public stock offering. Gravity Jack invites you to join them. They'll continue to be at the center. Find them on startengine.com.
Happy Reformation Day on CrossPolitic. Thank you for joining us. Pastor Toby Chalk Knox.
What are you dressed up as?
So, basketball season starts for me today.
You're dressed up as a coach.
I'm dressing up as a coach.
Yeah.
So I got my hoop shirt.
Where's your clipboard?
And I broke mine last season.
Yep. That's what we
I got to order a new one. It was a cheap one.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was brittle.
What's this story?
Come on, Gabe.
The ref called some bad.
This
bad,
is girls
and I threw
basketball.
my clipboard on the ground and it broke.
Yeah.
Why do you do it like you just tossed it and just like shattered like glass?
I did. It was brittle. It was extra brittle.
Yeah, I don't think you tossed it.
There you
like
go.
that.
We're going to have to get a replay of that. Can you get
Throw the flag.
Neil, we want a replay on that. Hey,
Way to teach those girls, Gabe.
elevate your cultural and political conversations with CrossPolitic's pub membership.
Oh.
Join our passionate community of thinkers. I don't know about passionate. I don't know if I'd go with that. Neil is a good try. Debaters, action takers. We are zealous. We are intense. We are rowdy.
Dropology.
Gain exclusive access to premium content, live events, and engaging discussions on faith, politics, and culture, and Gabe's basketball coaching skills.
Yeah.
Be part of the change.
I should do a university on that.
How to get expensive clipboards.
Be part of the change and become a CrossPolitic pub member today. For more information, head on over to fightlaughfeast.com. Join the Rowdy Pub. That's fightlaughfeast.com. And I think I'm supposed to read the rest of this. Am I supposed to keep going?
One little clarification
I don't know.
here. Don't join in the app, because if you join in the app, you're giving Apple and Google money.
Okay.
If you go to our website,
I mean, you can.
You can. We aren't going to do.
But you're giving money to the man.
But if you go to our website, FLFpub.com, you can join there. FLFpub.com. It'll take you right to the landing page where you can join there. It'll save you money, and we won't be giving Google and iTunes, Google and Apple money. So.
All right, so I think I'm supposed to keep reading.
Yes.
This. So hold on, stop. I couldn't tell where the first ad and the second ad starts. So what are you guys doing today? What are you celebrating today? What are you guys celebrating?
The fact
look
that
behind you.
The Reformation.
Marty Luther. Marty. That's how we know him, Marty. Marty Luther, in 1517, nailed those theses up and started the Protestant Reformation. And you know what you should be doing next year on this day?
That's right.
Fight, Laugh, Feast Conference.
That's right.
Prodigal America kicking off in Dallas, Fort Worth.
On October 31st.
Exactly 1 year. Reformation Day 2024. So you got a year to plan.
Yep.
Bring your church. Bring your small group.
So good.
Bring everybody.
You can, because it's so inexpensive, too.
Everybody.
Yeah. So are you guys celebrating today? You celebrating Reformation today?
Practice today.
One of the key things that we as Christians need to understand is that we are a celebrating people. We are a party people. God, invites us to a feast every Lord's Day.
Party people.
And he's,
tag team back again.
No, not that one. Not that one. Different. Very, very, very different party.
I actually got that.
That was good, man.
God sets a table in the midst of our enemies.
Yes,
and this is the tip of the spear.
Yeah,
is worship, and at the center there is a table.
Yeah,
where we hear the word of the Lord proclaimed, and we sit down and we celebrate with bread and wine. We remember and we proclaim the Lord's victory. So parties with meaning contextualize where we are in the story. Where we are in the grander story being told. We look at what's going on overseas and we're wondering, what are we to think when it comes to things like Israel and the Palestinians and Hamas? How do we think wisely about Russia and Ukraine? All of these are important questions, and it's very easy to be pulled into 1,000 narratives flooding our senses. We need to recontextualize ourselves to God's word and his ways of exercising our freedom. So, Man, this is good, Neil.
Yeah,
man.
No,
That's really good.
Come
All
on,
right,
bro.
Neil, just for you.
Come on.
You shot it out the park.
The producer.
We're going to be talking about some current events right now today as we celebrate Reformation Day. But speaking of Hamas and chickpeas, what? Tomorrow, we will be having James Raymond, evangelist to the Middle East.
Yep.
We've had him on before.
Giving us a deeper dive into the situation over there. So be ready for that. Stay tuned for that. There you go. One more thing.
Yeah.
I got there's a church starting.
Oh, I saw this.
I love church plugs.
In Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
Tri-Cities, Christchurch, Tri-Cities. Washington, Tri-Cities. Yeah. I know there's like Tri-Cities like all over the country, right? And they're like, that's my No, it's Tri-Cities, Washington. Yeah. In Kennewick, Washington, a new church getting off the ground. Go to christchurchtricities.org. Find out more. You can contact Leon LaFerrier, Eric Robinson. They've also got a Facebook page as well, facebook.com/Christchurch Tri-Cities. They're meeting 7320 West Hood Place, Kennewick, Washington on Sunday mornings now at 10 a.m. Check them out. There's contact information.
What's the website? Or is
ChristchurchTricities.org.
Okay. Or
Christchurch Tri-Cities. Just spell it out. TRICITIES.org. Check them out today.
That's great. All right. So we actually haven't done a news show in a while.
No, we're going to get back to it too.
Nothing's happened.
Nothing. A lot has happened. Ben Carson actually just endorsed President Trump. Was it Monday?
That's going to push him over the edge right there.
Yeah, Ben Carson.
Total. I'm looking at your tweet right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which one?
The one. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to dead name X. I keep doing that. I got to stop dead naming X.
Twitter?
You mean X?
Twitter.
It really needs to be said out loud and regularly that it is
Twitter forever.
Complete travesty of justice that innocent Americans are treated like suspects every time we fly. Being X-rayed, patted down, stripped off jackets, belts, and shoes in a humiliating invasion of privacy and needs to stop. Is that how you feeling right now?
That's how I'm feeling right now. I
just got off a plane.
I just got off the plane, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sick of that. I'm really sick of that. You know, my daughter actually, who I took with me on this recent trip over the weekend, she doesn't fly as much as me, and I think I get desensitized. Like I'm annoyed by it. But she was like, she was
heated.
She was worked up.
She got a little passion.
That gives me hope because hopefully by the time
she's just like in the way she's talking about it to me, it was like a real it was convicting to me. I was like, she's totally right.
Yeah.
And she feels like her privacy invaded.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Invaded.
Yeah.
And so on the way back, she said, Dad, can we please ask to not go through the X-ray machine? And I was like, sure. So they have the metal detector on the side, and usually they just herd you through the X-ray and put your arms up and get your naked buns picture taken. And she's like, just that's the worst of it. And I was like, sure. So we go up and I said, can we go through this? And he goes, this way. And I said, my daughter and I would really prefer to go through this. And he says, fine. And he let us through.
Great service here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went through just the metal detector.
Wow.
So one less naked picture of us out there in the TSA world. Yeah, it's just we're being treated like suspects.
Yes, I thought that was so good.
This is a travesty of American justice. It's a travesty of biblical justice.
Yep.
That we are to be innocent until proven guilty.
Amen.
Cops and security guards have to have a reasonable warrant to search people. To search their premises, to search their property, to search their purses. I mean, that
sounds like a constitutional amendment, right?
Right. It's probably in the Bill of Rights. Probably in the Bill of Rights. Yeah. We've been putting up with this. I mean, at least since. I mean, I think it was probably creeping before, but 9/11 really was the thing where.
Which is one of the reasons why George Bush was one of the worst presidents we've ever had.
Yeah, and I'm like, whatever. I'm sure he meant well, but it's awful.
Yeah.
And I think this is how you get masks. This is how you get the vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been
that's right,
and this is why they thought they could do it.
Yeah,
and why they got away with it for far too long. Yeah. But it's we were treated like we were carriers.
That's right.
We were treated like we were already infected.
So you got frisked, COVID frisked.
Yeah, and so, but it's if we really want to get to the root of this, we've got to do reform there.
Yeah,
and I know there's other places where this is also happening, where just people are treated as if they are already suspects. They are already guilty, and you're guilty until proven innocent, which is a complete travesty of justice. And I also I was convicted, particularly with my daughter talking about it with me and thinking to myself, like, it's even more of a travesty, I think, and a dishonoring of our daughters and our wives.
Man, I just saw the first part of your tweet. I didn't know it had this much roots to it.
Yeah, but no.
Wow.
And like, here's another weird thing. Just this is like, by the way, in Kansas City Airport this morning, and in Spokane, no, Seattle. Was the layover. They have now apparently gender inclusive bathrooms.
What are those?
Yeah. Well,
gender inclusive.
Apparently, it's mixed bathrooms. There were men and women. It said men and women mixed.
In Seattle,
and in Kansas City this morning, and like we're like looking at it, and we're like trying to figure because it has a man and a woman.
Which bathroom can I go in?
And I thought like we were about to go, and I was like,
and it divide up or whatever.
Split, but there's only one entrance.
Wow. So basically, that means there's two bathrooms for guys now.
Exactly.
That's what that means.
For any real ladies.
Yeah.
I mean, ladies that aren't going to be.
The dudes are taking over both bathrooms.
Right. This is feminism for you.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this too. You're talking about the injustice of just trying to get on a plane.
Yeah.
But that stuff doesn't stay there. Right, it doesn't stay right inside of the TSA agents and all that. No, that stuff bleeds all the way into how a person functions in society.
Exactly.
It goes to your courts. It goes into your schools. It gets into everything. It doesn't stop in one place. Everything's connected.
But I think, exactly. No, it's connected. I mean, it's why, the courts, judges,
it doesn't
can
stop
feel
there.
free to assume guilt.
Yeah.
Because of any number of superficial things or fears.
Right.
Which is what this is all based on, right? I mean, there's already people in my mentions.
The government knows best.
Saying, well, there is terrorism.
Yeah, you're safer now.
Right. And it's like, well, there's.
Well, that's because the government took away my guns.
I know. right. I know that. But it is not just. It is not just to treat most people or everybody as guilty.
Yeah.
Because some people are.
Yeah.
It is just simply, that's not, and ultimately this is going to come down to trusting God's word.
I was going to say,
over man's word.
Right.
But whenever you trust man's word, because men suck at being gods, but they try to be gods anyway.
Right.
What you inevitably get is tyranny.
Yeah.
We don't,
because they have to make more rules because they're no good at being God.
That's right.
Well, and because we have forgotten God.
Yeah.
So why do you have overrun borders, and why do you have unsafe streets, and why do you have unsafe environments?
Because we are putting our trust in man.
And so guess what? Now we have to give up all of our freedoms. When you actually repent and live honestly before God, what you get is a safe cultural environment, right? Because God protects you, but we don't believe that.
Right.
We don't believe that God really will protect us.
Right.
But we are afraid of the fact that we've turned against God. So now maybe we can build things big enough that the judgment of God,
keep God out.
Right. That's what we're really trying to keep out.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're trying to keep out the judgment of God more than anything else.
Yeah. And this is why it's inevitable. A repentant people will inevitably make a Christian nation. Because repentance is and political. Yeah. It comes out. It comes out in how you raise your kids, how you live in the streets, how you vote. Yeah. Repentance affects everything.
Right.
And if everybody repents in a nation, what do you get?
Right.
A Christian nation.
Christian nation.
And here's what's funny about the whole Christian nationalism debate right now is the Baptists have been very concerned if we become a Christian nation that we start flogging Baptists.
Right.
And the Baptists, what Baptists make up 70% of our evangelical church culture in the United States or something.
More.
Maybe more.
Right.
Maybe 80%, whatever.
Vast majority.
But I'm really grateful we got a new prince, a new prince in the house. So
like the Fresh Prince?
A new political prince.
Are you sure you want to put that on him yet?
Mike Johnson.
Do you really want to call him a Christian prince yet? I don't know.
Well, he did. I did see that video where it's like, if you want to know what I think politically, read the Bible.
Yeah.
We got that. So Mike Johnson is the new House Speaker. New Speaker of the House.
Prince of the House.
I know. He's the Prince of the House. And Jen Psaki, remember we don't call her Psaki around here. Jen Psaki actually kind of tried to do a little piece on him that came out. Was it Sunday night? Was this Sunday night?
Just recently.
Just real recently. Go ahead and roll the clip.
So let's take a few minutes to talk about this new speaker. First glance, Mike Johnson does seem fine-ish. Conservative, yes, but he once started a civility caucus with a Democrat. And I mean, if nothing else, he wears a suit and has glasses. How threatening can this guy actually be? Well, he gave us all a little clue as to how he would govern in an interview this week.
I am a Bible-believing Christian. Someone asked me today in the media, they said, it's curious. People are curious. What does Mike Johnson think about any issue under the sun? I said, well, go pick up a Bible off your shelf and read it. That's my worldview.
That's good.
You heard that right.
That's good.
The Bible doesn't just inform his worldview, it is his worldview. In fact, during his first speech in his new job, Johnson suggested that his election as speaker was an act of God. Talk about a bit of a humble brag there.
Wait, pause.
What exactly
a
has...
humble brag about recognizing that God puts you in office?
Well, I guess
How did Jen get to where she's at?
She doesn't
all by her own works. I mean,
she doesn't understand.
No.
You know, it's really funny to me when they think the thing that, okay, let's just say that the majority of America is in some way evangelical, right? And this is supposed to be an insult to the majority of America.
Yeah.
We're like, so he's quoting Romans 13, which has been everybody's favorite verse since 2020.
I believe the Bible, and I want to make sure that the morality that the Bible teaches that I act that way and represent people properly before God. I want to be a good priest.
And I got in this position not because of my own works or my good doings, but God put me here.
Like to say something like that.
He's bragging?
Yeah, well.
God apparently called on Mike Johnson to do. Well, his views on policy are essentially what you'd expect from a religious fundamentalist. They're more divisive than they are divine. Prior to his election to Congress in 2016, Johnson spent nearly 2 decades working for the hard right conservative legal activist group, the Alliance Defending Freedom.
I like those guys.
It's a group, by the way, that is so right-wing, it was designated a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
No one cares.
The ADF has worked for decades to blur the line between church and state, if not erase it altogether. It's kind of their goal. They've pushed to expand LGBTQ plus discrimination in the name of...
Pause.
Why does she care about that line?
There's a line?
I want to know why she should...
Who defines that line? Is it a neutral line?
Yeah. Well...
What if they were trying to blur the lines between the Palestinians and the state? Oh, never mind. Okay, sorry.
Religious freedom. And they were a big part of the effort to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yes.
Following the Supreme Court's 2003 ruling that struck down the country's sodomy laws as unconstitutional, Johnson criticized the decision and wrote in favor of criminalizing gay sex. He claimed that, quote, states have always maintained the right to discourage the evils of sexual conduct outside of marriage.
Amen.
Then in 2004,
That's a Christian
Johnson
state.
wrote that homosexual relationships are inherently unnatural, ultimately harmful, and a dangerous lifestyle.
Wait. Where's the line?
Pause. Where's the line at that? Exactly.
Gabe, you might be right.
He is a Christian prince.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sold. I don't believe in the whole, but I see what you're saying here. You might have a point,
It
Gabe.
seems like, though, he's infringing on Owen Strawn's, neutral ground here.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Here's what I'm noticing so far in this whole conversation.
I think Baptists only like Christian princes if they're Baptists. That's what it is.
I think he's Baptist.
He is. Oh, he's Southern Baptist.
Oh, okay.
He's Southern Baptist Convention.
All the way. So,
he served on the board of ERLC.
Well, he served on a few Christian boards, and I know some people who know him. And so, but the thing is, I'm noticing, I don't know if we deserve this guy. You know what I mean? I mean, we got him, so praise God. But I'm waiting to see, but I don't know if we actually deserve. Have we had a speaker like this? I mean, after Nancy
we had
Pelosi
Newt Gingrich who was cheating on his wife. We had McCarthy, but McCarthy, I mean, like, he didn't fulfill some of his promises, which is what got the Gates 8 all ticked off. This is really interesting that right now at this point that this is like a Trump move in one sense. Right. We didn't see this one coming. Nobody, when they got rid of the previous speaker, said, you know who was going to happen? Mike Johnson. We're going to get more Christian.
Well, I mean, here's one reason. I mean, I'm with this. I'm with this. Like, I'm like, great. I mean,
the attacks he's getting from the left.
At the very least, getting Jen Psaki mad. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm down. I'm down with this. I'm eating my popcorn and I'm hanging. But I mean, they ran Jim Jordan,
right?
And they couldn't get the votes for him,
right?
Because he was far too extreme, and he also has a record, like he's got everybody knew what he was going to do,
right? Right.
And they end up with a guy that nobody's heard of,
right?
So I'm just like I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful.
That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't even be at a place where somebody's Christian morality is this much a target.
No, this is a win.
Right. And this is a win. And I want to see at this place what he does. So I'm open to see, like, I want to be proved wrong, but
I would take this as a win purely on rhetoric.
Oh,
okay.
Because I think we need Christians just saying, my worldview, read the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, we need every Christian politician standing up and saying, now, what they've done now is given us the answer key.
Yeah.
They've given us a standard by which we're allowed to judge him.
Yeah,
Right.
And so, some of our abolitionist friends pointed out that apparently he killed their abolitionist bill in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And so that's very unfortunate. And I would say, hey, man, on what basis are you doing this?
Yep.
When you had an opportunity to save the babies in Louisiana, why are you killing it when you have an opportunity to actually do that?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But he told us the Bible is his standard.
Well, at least we can pull him by his baptism.
That's what I'm saying. We'll grab him by the Bible. We'll grab him by the Bible.
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
To know whether discrimination is a key tenet of the Bible. It's not. And then there is his policy on gun violence. Speaker Johnson wants to talk about anything but guns. In 2016, he actually blamed school shootings on no-fault divorce laws,
Facts.
radical feminism,
Facts.
and legal abortion. It's all
forget the
quite a
drugs.
stretch there. Then there's the obvious question of how Johnson's convictions square with his fierce loyalty to Donald Trump, a guy who has been married multiple times, paid hush money to a porn star, and joked about grabbing.
I know. Oh my goodness.
But now moral standards.
Oh my
matter.
goodness.
Right. Well, just notice.
You want to go to war? Because we could go to war.
Suddenly,
I'm
she
for
wants to discriminate.
And she wants to push her worldview,
What? Wait. Something wrong with having multiple wives?
her standards.
Something wrong with paying hush money to prostitutes? What's wrong with that?
Well, because I'm pretty sure your boss's son was. Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry.
How come you haven't done this clip on Hunter Biden?
I'm just saying, wasn't she the speaker?
Yeah.
The news press secretary.
One moment, no discrimination.
Yeah.
Next moment,
Discrimination. That's
Okay.
right. All right, keep rolling.
I would love to know what passage in the Bible told Johnson to become one of the most important architects behind Trump's effort to overturn the 2020 election. Which passage? Was it God whispering in his ear to ignore the Constitution and disenfranchise millions of voters? It's hard not to think
Hang on.
Mike Johnson.
That's actually more legitimate than trannies. Right? I mean, how do you know? You're a woman trapped inside a man's body.
But I've been thinking about this a little bit recently. So in 2016, the Russia collusion was all propagated by Hillary Clinton's campaign and all the bad actors involved. And the media went on 4 years on this Russia collusion campaign.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened in 2020. And then they forced everybody, the media went all in on COVID too. And they forced everybody to, social distance, stay out of school, all that stuff. And then the Trump's reelection happened and Biden won, campaigning from his basement. You can't read this narrative and think that this is logically what the reality of what really happened. The Russia collusion, what Hillary did. I think the Republican Party and everybody should be taking these things far more seriously than they are. Mm-hmm. We've kind of let the Russia collusion thing go. Now the Democrats have the Department of Justice, the IRS, what was the third one?
FBI.
The FBI. They have these organizations. And we really want to talk about a coup. We honestly want to talk about what a coup really does. The Democratic Party is the coup in this scenario.
My only objection to that is I think it's the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah, I think a lot of Republicans are involved. Absolutely.
The Republicans.
Remember, we just had
Yes, the Uniparty.
We just had Michael Sullivan on in Texas,
Right.
and a bunch of Republicans are partnering with Democrats in Texas to keep Texas
I just
liberal.
think we need to be clear that we have a problem. We absolutely have a problem.
Yeah.
I don't really know what I think about what happened with the election.
No
Donald
one's answered
Trump
this question for me. How does Biden campaign from his basement and get the most votes out of any president
because
ever?
No Democrats and most Republicans didn't want Donald Trump as the president. That's how.
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I think it's
He got 80 million votes.
I'm just saying that's just logical. Oh yeah. As not Donald Trump. That's what they were voting.
Yeah.
Not Donald Trump.
Yeah. And Donald Trump got 75 million.
There's a lot
Where did all those
Orange man bad?
Where did all those votes come from?
Well, there's a lot of options that were available because of COVID that allowed people to vote or for them to harvest
votes.
I grant you that helps me better understand.
Yeah,
that.
so I think that, and Republicans now are
harvesting became legal in 2020.
Right.
Yep.
And so now Republicans are trying to figure out how to harvest votes themselves, right? And so now the playing field, they didn't think about doing it then, and the Democrats were running up saying, hey, since we can do this. So I think that some of that's there as well.
We're going to eventually get 400 million votes in a presidential election when we only have 325 million people.
Well,
how did this happen? Harvesting's legal.
When that happens, I'll be all in with you. Okay, that was not legit. That was not legit. When that happens,
blah 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 blah.
Yeah, if that happens, if your person wins, let me know if you're saying let's take it all back.
Okay.
Just saying.
a bunch in 2024, a bunch of people are going to vote not Biden.
Yeah.
Right? Not for Trump.
Well,
was there anything else in this clip?
Biden's not really alive.
Is this?
Was there anything else in this clip?
I can't remember. Finish it off just real quick.
His idea of what America should be is drastically out of line with what America actually is. He clearly envisions a country that's less democratic and less tolerant. And that may explain why he seems more comfortable with the America of the 18th century than the America of today.
Truth has been replaced as the greatest virtue in society by tolerance. Well, we're the inherently intolerant ones who say, wait a minute, life is sacred because we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. We have to stand up for those. Oh, you bigot. Can't you be a little more open-minded? Come on. That's so 18th century. Well, they told us that if we didn't maintain those 18th century values, that the republic would not stand. And so this is the condition we find ourselves in today.
You notice how
just holding on to those 18th century values there.
Well, hold on. Okay, I don't know if I need to hear any more of her.
Okay.
But you just got to notice something here. This is a Fifth Commandment violation. She keeps on talking about democracy too, and he keeps on talking about a republic. No, she keeps saying that.
Yep.
But one of the things that Mike Johnson is doing here is he's remembering what was handed down to him generation from generation to generation, and he's trying to honor that.
Yep.
She keeps talking about today as if we just popped out of here from nowhere.
Right.
We didn't just pop out of here from nowhere. We have a lineage, people.
Right.
We have a history.
The 18th century is when 1776 happened.
You don't get
That's
America.
when 1789
My goodness.
happened.
That's right.
You don't get America
Apart from that,
if you don't have those fathers. And she's spitting on their grave.
Fifth Commandment violation.
All right. So it's been a long time since we've talked COVID, but
Has it though?
I couldn't help it. I did mention it just earlier, but
Yeah.
Bill Maher is still hitting the trails here, bringing people on that differ with, have differing opinions. And he actually this last weekend got Cuomo, what was our nickname for Cuomo? I forget.
You named
Governor Cuomo.
I don't remember.
I forgot. Hot dog de Blasio. We had something for Cuomo. Anyways,
I don't know.
and then he got this professor from New York University from the business school on talking about COVID and everything. And I ain't gonna say any more about the clip. You gotta just listen to it.
Well, I was on the board of my kid's school during COVID. I wanted a harsher lockdown policy, and in retrospect, I was wrong. The damage to kids of keeping them out of school longer was greater than the risks. But here's the bottom line. Myself, our great people, the CDC, I'd like to thank the governor, we were all operating with imperfect information, and we were doing our best. So
Look at Bill. Well,
let's learn from it. Let's learn from it. Let's hold each other accountable. But let's bring a little bit of grace and forgiveness in the shit show that was COVID.
Yeah. Wait.
What does he mean by holding each other accountable? Restitution? I mean, because that's how you hold each other accountable.
You broke the Constitution. You know that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people did.
Right. What I want to ask him, what is forgiveness?
Well, whatever it was,
right.
if that wasn't it,
Yeah.
right? He's
Where does
like,
grace and forgiveness come from?
it's
What are we talking about?
I am sorry. I was wrong.
Right.
Will you forgive me?
And then you step
screwed
down?
up your life, and then you
Step
quit.
down from your board
Obviously,
job?
I'm not qualified.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people. Here's what people keep acting like in this conversation. There were people who got it right, and they don't want to acknowledge that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't acknowledge the people who got it right. He
Why don't
acted
they
like
say,
everybody
Dr. J,
got it
good
wrong.
work.
Some people, exactly.
Dr. Ryan Cole, good work.
There were a lot of people who got it right and said, we're going to destroy our future like this.
Right.
Forget your position on government schools, right? Forget it for a second.
Sure.
But there were people who were saying, if you do this,
Yep.
there are kids today who still have a hard time processing 3 years after COVID, faces and what they mean and people's emotions because of what we did just during that time. And that's not the kids who were already going through hard trials at schools.
Yep.
Those are the babies who grew up in that time with masks on.
Yep.
You have done irreparable harm.
Yeah.
You don't get up here and say, hey, you need to, no. You need to throw yourself down. I was wrong. Forgive me. I relinquished my position. I shouldn't have been the place of authority.
And I think your point is right, Gabe. Do restitution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean accountability?
Yeah. I don't even know how to calculate all that.
Right. I know. But you ought to be
for what you did.
You ought to absolutely be celebrating the people that got it right.
Yes.
I mean, talk about a time to be quiet and listen. I mean, isn't that what they're always saying?
You need to listen to a bunch of conservative Christians who are right.
Shut up and listen.
Listen.
I mean, isn't that what people say?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, it's like this is kind of a moment where like that would be legitimate.
Yeah.
Like you tried to silence the people that got it right.
Yeah.
Yep.
What did they see? What did they understand that you couldn't see? You need to be quiet. You need to elevate those voices, as they say. And
you're right about that because, hey, here's the people who should be working in these fields now.
Clearly they're to be the trusted ones.
Right. So he didn't say, hey, we couldn't trust the CDC. We couldn't trust.
Right.
No. Guys, they had the information.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they didn't
Mark
know.
question him on any of that? I
didn't get to see the whole thing.
This was circulating around the
it's a
internet.
similar thing. Like we need to amplify black people voices, and yet then we don't step down from our positions of power. We need to. You need to amplify Christians who got this right, doctors who got this right.
Which is their way of just getting the people they want to shut up, not actually care about the truth.
That's right.
I'm more with Dace on this. There needs to be some trials.
Some Nuremberg trials.
We really do need, because we haven't figured out.
There were like people died. I mean, like we're talking about real life, like people died. Like people died because
grandmas,
because they couldn't get the care that they needed to get, because they got terrible care. Because everybody was freaking out because the CDC said what they said, whatever, and people wouldn't listen to people like Dr. Cole and Dr. Bhattacharya and others who said like there are a number of really good treatments that we can offer people,
right? And
people died, and it's like that's why I want to go back to. So what do you mean by grace? What do you mean by forgiveness? I believe in those things, but the biblical standard of forgiveness does not mean that we trust you.
Right.
Yeah.
If you say I'm wrong, please forgive me. I am obligated as a Christian to say I forgive you.
Right. That's really good.
But doesn't mean I have to trust you. Trust is something that you build, you earn. If I don't know who this guy is, if he's a professing Christian and he wants to come to the Lord's table, he's asked for forgiveness for his part in the travesty. I say, you're forgiven. Come to the Lord's table. Yeah. You're absolutely welcome here. Jesus welcomes you. Who am I to not let you come? Yep. But if you ask, can I help run your public health? No. No, not for a long time.
Not ever.
No, and just like a pastor who screws up with finances or sexually or whatever and says, please forgive me, I sin. I say, you're forgiven. You're welcome to the Lord's table. Please step down. Yeah. We're going to find a new pastor because you're not qualified. The same way as a husband or a wife who commits adultery. You're not required to take them back. You are required to forgive them if they're repentant. Right. Yes, I will not hold that sin against you, but you're not required to be reconciled to them as a married spouse. Sometimes that's a wise thing to do. Sometimes it can be healed. Yeah. And as gospel believers, we should hope for that and work for that. But sometimes it's so obliterated. Yeah. That the wise thing is to divorce him, and Jesus says you're free to do that. Yeah.
Oh man, Gabe, why do you keep bringing up COVID stuff? It gets every time. It's like
never forget.
I don't think that we're past it though. That's the thing. They're still having these conversations. We haven't worked it all the way out yet. We haven't worked it all the way through. And I think we're about to have right now with whatever's going on we're about to have a whole nother thing where if we don't really have some good biblical ethics for this, we're not going to be able to make it through this next phase very well.
Right. This is why I think I'll just bring it full circle. This is why I think we ought, like Christians too often merely react rather than act. And so we ought to be thinking of things out there that we can take. We ought to be the ones, speaking of no quarter November. Yeah. We ought to be the ones setting the fires. Yeah. And it would be glorious if a whole bunch of Christians suddenly said, you know what, actually, we're going to go after the TSA. Yeah. We're going to sue their pants off. Yeah. And, I'd love for ADF or one of these companies to say we are which one is it? The Fifth Amendment or Fourth Amendment?
Unreasonable search and seizures. Fifth is testifying.
That's right. Right. Our Fourth Amendment rights have been violated since 9/11, and you government need to figure out a just way to defend us from terrorists, and you need to stop treating us like suspects. You need to stop strip searching our daughters and our wives. And we're done with this. Yep. We're not doing this anymore. I think we've done that. There's a fair bit of pushback on the vax and the masks. I think if they tried to foist that on people tomorrow, I think there would be a pretty
a lot of states have made it illegal for the government to require masking and vax.
But we ought to have some states start saying it's illegal to take X-rays of people who have not been convicted of any crimes.
Pastor, that's really good stuff.
But we ought to take it to them.
Yes.
Like we need to start the fire.
Yes. That's really good.
And make them react to us. We're tired of tyranny.
Yep.
We're free Christians.
Yep.
We've been set free by the gospel, and we don't trust you.
Yeah.
We can forgive you.
Yeah.
But we don't
trust you at all.
That's right.
If you haven't yet, you need to become a Fight Laugh Feast, now called the Pub Club member. You can do
FLFpub.com.
that. Go FLFpub.com, FLFpub.com. That website is now officially up. You can go check it out. If you are, thank you so much for being a club member. We get to do this every day because of you becoming a club member. We're
Appreciate
so
you
thankful.
guys. Appreciate you guys.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is CrossPolitic.
I'm David Reese, Chief Executive Officer of Armored Republic. We've been around for over a decade, serving you now, trying to provide tools of liberty to free men to be able to resist tyrants and criminals to the honor of Christ. And we've created a lot of content to help you to understand products, to help you to understand how bullets get stopped, and you've seen a lot of cool things. But we've decided it's time to share some of what we have internally. A lot of people ask us what it is that we're about, what it is we're trying to accomplish, and the name captures what we're trying to accomplish. Armored Republic is the idea that we want to see our republic armored. We want it to be hardened. We want it to be defensible. We want to guard, watch, keep, preserve, maintain the things that have been attained to. And so guarding that is a part of this armoring. We believe that if we can provide armor to you, if we can equip you, if we can give you knowledge, if we can help you to resist the nonsense that's dominant in the spirit of the age, and if you have all of that, we've equipped you with tools of liberty. Tools of liberty includes intellectual ammunition. It includes the skill to be able to resist. It includes body armor itself, plate carriers, belts, IFAKs to be able to heal up, stitch up, to be able to stop the bleed. Right? These are the things that we're trying to get to you. Now, as we think about that, a part of what's happened is there's sort of this sense in which there's a feeling of the tearing of the fabric of society. And so people don't know what it is that they should be doing. They don't know what to do, what to guard, where to gather. We want to encourage you to be able to gather free men who know what liberty is, who know that liberty is not a license to do wickedness, but it is the power to do righteousness in the face of tyrants and criminals. It is the ability to say no, and it's the ability to say yes to the right things. It's the ability to build. You need sword and trowel. You have to be able to put things together. So what we're trying to do now is trying to communicate more and more what it is to armor the republic. And in addition to that, what is a republic that we're guarding and trying to build? Republic's not just another word for democracy, which is the rule of the people. The rule of the people is two wolves and a sheep voting who's for dinner. If you have a pure democracy, all you're going to do is vote on who to kill, and you're going to vote on whose wallet to pick. That's not what America is about. America is a republic if we can keep it. The Constitution attempts to capture the God-given rights that we receive as a heritage. It recognizes them. It does not give them. It does not grant them, but it rather establishes a clear public recognition of the rights that we have. What we are trying to do is to help to educate and strengthen and unite a movement to see that liberty does not perish from the land. This is Armored Republic. And in a republic, there is no king but Christ.